What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Justin Davis, and today, this is a historic video because thousands of drones, well over 1,000 drones have been in my shop, and I have flown for 7 years, over 7 years on my channel now, and today, I could tell you that no other drone, analog FPV drone, has come to my doorstep that I could get 38 minutes flight time with. I'm going to show you how to do that in this video. I'm also going to show you some Betaflight settings for yours, and we're going to talk about freestyle, cinema, and long range with this quad. So if you're brand new to FPV and you're looking for your very first beginner kit for an outdoor FPV drone, buy this, because this will get you 38 minutes flight time. And I'm not even joking. It's always, proof is in the video, guys. So we have the video, we have the DVR of that 38-minute flight, and we have some pretty hardcore freestyle to show you as well. Freestyle is when you go up and you do the flippy dippy stuff all over the place and you do power loops and all that. We're gonna do it all on the channel today for this particular review, and we're going to do some Betaflight. So I'm gonna show you the settings you need to put into your Novice 4 to fly a Li-Ion pack on there. Yes, you can fly Li-Ion packs on this one like the other long-range GPS 4-inch quads out there. It is ultralight, but it's actually pretty durable too. So we're gonna do a durability test as well. And don't forget to sign up for the review coming up in June 2021. We're giving away a brand new Insta360 Go and a Flywoo little tiny hexarotor quad that is called the Firefly. It also comes with a different mount that will mount your Insta360 Go. I'm gonna send these both to your door, free shipping to the winner. So make a comment down below, let me know where you're from, and subscribe on the channel, and you will be all entered in for this contest. So without further ado, let's go outside, let's fly the most historic FPV analog GPS drone to date on my channel. 38 minutes. Let's go. Okay, my friends, let's go ahead and do the flight test now. This is where my GPS wasn't quite working. I think it got unplugged in the box, but in this freestyle flight test, my GPS flew off because, well, we're getting crazy around the trees, and I wanted to see if this guy would power loop for you guys real quick, and apparently it will power loop quite fast, and it's pretty much nimble and light enough to do anything with the 4S 1100 battery that comes along with it. It can power loop, it can do freestyle loops, and there's a really deep late loop still made it out, which is kind of crazy. I just went ahead and pushed that, so we're going to go back in for one more loop here, another flippy dippy, and I went for this power loop. I came in a little close, too close, and hit the tree and went all the way down through the tree to the concrete, and bam, there we are on the concrete for a good crash. And the GPS popped completely off the quad at that point. So I didn't realize that the GPS wasn't on there, but I went ahead and did this part of the flight test for you anyway. I wanted to see how long this 18650 battery would go, and I was very surprised. The first few minutes that I was flying this, I noticed that the average cell voltage is on the left-hand side of the screen. If you see, it says 3.81 volt, and underneath it, the total voltage is 15.2 starting out. There's a little bit of load there. It dropped down from about 16 something to 15.2 on takeoff. But notice that the battery average cell voltage doesn't really change that much while I'm flying. For even the first 5 minutes, it barely dropped a couple points of a volt. So it's kind of amazing that from the very beginning, I was thinking, whoa, I might be getting 28 minutes flight time with this quad in comparison to the other 4-inch quads out there of this particular category. So I was thinking, wow, this Novice 4 is really going to surprise me here today. And I didn't want to get my hopes up just because, well, sometimes things will sag out at the last minute, and that's what happens with Li-Ions. You get to the very bottom of a cell and it drops dramatically, and it'll bring it on down to the ground. So I'm speeding up this footage now. You can look at the fly minutes on the bottom right hand corner of the screen, just because this would take us forever. We'd be sitting here for 38 minutes, and I just wanted you to see that the fly minutes keep going here, and that, you know, I'm not fooling anybody here with any kind of trickery or video trickery or anything like that. This is the actual same flight sped up. If you want me to upload the entire 38-minute flight, from start to finish, I'll do that too, just for proving to you guys and the internet that this actually flew for 38 minutes. So kind of wild that this did that, and it flew longer than even some of the more expensive 4K camera drones out there with giant battery packs. So I think the power to weight ratio on here at a low throttle point is kind of wild. So you can bring this under half throttle, bring it down to about a 40% to 38% cruise, and you can achieve a really long flight time. Now, the flight time was flashing right here on the screen, so it did drop out quite a bit right there, and you can see it's still flashing. And I'm at 2.7 volt right there, and that's under load. So under load, it's going to appear lower on the screen while your motors are engaged. Now, when you put it on the ground, this average cell voltage number is going to go up for you. So don't be super alarmed if you see 2.6 or 2.7, because when you put it on the ground and you test your battery with your battery checker, you're going to see that you actually still have like close to 3 volt per cell. So you're not dipping down to that scary damage the Li-Ion cell voltage of 2.8 volt or under. So you can go down to 2.8. People do fly down to 2.7. I don't recommend it, but there we are in the warning range in Betaflight. It's showing me a flash on the screen now, 2.6, and I'm done at 38.15 minutes. That is kind of crazy. 38 minutes flight time on a ZOD 4S1P 3500 pack, baby. Let's go. So highly recommended. Let's go ahead and let's give this quad the full review on the bench. Here we go. All right, guys, welcome back from the flight test. This is the case that you get for the Ready to Fly version. I don't know that there is another version for just buying the Novice 4 by itself yet. Maybe they're going to do that later, but it would be really nice for you guys. So this is the case. This is the battery that I used to get 38 minutes flight time. This is the ZOD 18650 4S1P 3500 milliamp battery, and I drove it all the way down to about around 2.6 volt on the OSD. Now, when you land, the resting voltage of the battery is going to go up, so don't be super alarmed if you see it down to 2.7 or 2.8. Generally, when you're flying Li-Ion packs, you don't want to run per cell down past 2.8 volt, but on the resting voltage, it was above 3 volt per cell, so I did not damage this battery, which is kind of crazy. So I feel like I could have got close to 40 minutes flight time on the 3500 pack. So these batteries have been testing out really, really well with other quads. Some of the other 4-inch quads that I've flown with the same Li-Ion pack, I'm only getting around a top of around 34 minutes flight time. So the Roma 4 and the Croc Baby and the Croc Baby 5 can all fly this pack. So those are alternatives to this one. But if you want to get 38 minutes flight time, grab one of these and get yourself a ZOD pack, and you'll be able to do that. Now, I'm going to also, again, I said I'm going to show you guys the settings inside Betaflight. So the biggest thing you need to know is that the OSD is going to start squawking at you when you get to around 3.25 volt per cell, because that's what the low voltage warning is set to. So we need to change that lower. And for you guys that already know, you can go into that power setting and you can change the battery warning down to about 2.7 if you want to, 2.8. And that way, when you fly your Li-Ion, it's not going to start flashing warnings on the screen. It is set up to warn you beforehand, though, for LiPo setting for voltage. So here is the charger that you get in the box. It will charge a 2, 3, and 4S battery. It also comes with a power cable in the box, which is pretty cool. So this one plugged right into the wall. This is an American style AC plug. This plugs into the side of the charger like this, and you're off and charging your batteries. So as a new guy, that's nice. This is pretty much plug and play. There's actually no buttons on here, so you just plug it in and it's gonna beep when your battery's done charging. Probably gonna charge up in about 12 minutes to 15 minutes per battery. Now this comes flattened out like this. I also took my RXSR receiver right here and I ran it out these tubes. These tubes also come in your accessory pack. So what's nice about this is that the strap that came along with it, it is large enough to run your LiPos on there up to about, I'd say even a 1300 would fit under this. And also that larger Li-Ion pack fits right behind your Insta360 Go attachment point right there. And you have plenty of room as far as what we call the truck bed right here for a large battery. And I used a converter on this to convert it down to an XT30. Now what was strange was that I had to put a little hot glue on both of these sides right here to hold these in, because they're a little small for the holes in this TPU mount back here, which is kind of strange. But they did get some stuff right on this one, which I didn't expect. First of all, the power system, the 1404 2750 kV motors, getting us the longest flight time at 38 minutes with the 4-inch bi-blade props right here. This was a great choice for props, great power system, no vibes in the tune really, and GPS on the back with the TPU mount as well. And they also put an external buzzer on here. So somebody at Eachine is kind of paying attention and watching what we're talking about in these reviews. And they came up with this ready to fly bundle based on all of the other 4-inch long range quads that we've been looking at for months. I say we've been probably reviewing those for about 6 months now. And here they are with their own version that's ready to fly for you guys with what I feel like is the right transmitter to start out with. I've told a lot of guys to buy a Radio Master TX12, and here it is. It's multi-protocol. It has the JR bay in the back. It is a full-size JR bay. It has two 18650 batteries that come along with it, and you can fly multiple models with it. You can even bind up toy drones with this transmitter. So 4 switches on here. It doesn't have a ton of switches, but it is wildly expandable. It also has 2 gimbals on the side right there in case you have a camera drone later or you build something fancy. And I gotta say that the Eachine box goggles that come along with it, they're not the best in the world, but they are better than some of the other more budget style goggles out there. And it comes with a right-hand circular polarized antenna and a patch antenna, so that's nice. And it also comes with an internal battery and DVR, so you can record your videos. So a little bit of everything on here. Record buttons on the right hand side, search button on the left, and that's actually backwards, so it's the search buttons on the right, record is on your left right there. Power button on the top, menu and channels and bands there. One press will change all the way 1 through 8 channels. If you long press it, it will change the band, and you'll see that menu pop up on the screen. Make sure you put your antennas on when you're turning everything on, especially for the radio. It probably won't hurt your goggles receiver, but it will hurt your radio. Make sure you turn this all the way to the right and have that nice and snug. Even has a little warning there for you. Make sure that you put the antenna on first. So you can also switch between the internal antenna on this and the external module base. So if you get Crossfire later on, you want to put Crossfire on this, it will work with Crossfire. Now, the cool thing about this is that while it does come with great radio and a sort of a medium range receiver, it's not really a long range receiver. You have GPS on here. GPS is not set to return to home, it's set to drop in Betaflight. So I'm going to show you how to activate GPS inside Betaflight after this short review. And the RXSR will get you a couple miles out. I've tested an XM Plus out to a mile, and I'm fairly certain that as you go higher, and we fly long range, we go higher and higher as we go. If you get to that 400-foot height limit restriction, you might want to turn around and come back, of course, but the general rule of long range is that you fly higher as you go, not lower. So you're gonna fail safe less as you're higher as you go because of the curve of the earth. So if you're miles and miles out, that just kind of makes sense. But we also have some stuff on here. We have a very nice low profile AIO flight controller. And this is the STM32F4 flight controller. It has a barometer on board and it has 6 UARTs on board as well. So this is a 20 by 20 mount. Underneath here you can see replaceable arms. And I have to say, the tree that I hit in the freestyle demo and crashed on the concrete, all of this survived. And I didn't even break a prop and I did not break an arm. So durability was kind of a thing with people. They're worried about the durability. I think that this one has a decent durability, and so it can do a little bit of freestyle, or it can do cinema, or it can do medium to long range. So 38-minute flight time again. Like, you will be able to put Crossfire on this and upgrade this to go further if you want. So that's kind of cool. And lastly, we have 25 amp ESCs and a standard Android style connector there on the flight controller. In the back, we have an analog VTX on the back, and that VTX, let me just double check, is running, I believe, up to 800 milliwatt. Just going to double check. No, not 800 milliwatt, 400 milliwatt. So I'd like to see that that was 800. I would suggest upgrading that later to 800. If you really want to send this thing, use 800 milliwatt on here, but 400 to start will get you out miles. And I'm happy to see that they also used an extra tall antenna here for the long range crowd. And this is a right hand circular polarized 5.8 antenna, but everything's looking nice on here. And I think for the flight time and how much the bundle costs with the TX12 radio, 2 batteries, the case, goggles that actually record DVR, and a decent quick charger, I think it's a pretty good bundle. So my recommendation for you guys is to absolutely grab this Li-Ion pack. I'll put a link down to this below. Hopefully they start shipping to the United States again. And don't forget to get entered into our giveaway contest. Be sure to subscribe and you will get yourself entered into that contest to win the Insta360 Go, still brand new in the package, with the Firefly from Flywoo. So pretty cool little hexacopter will be coming to your door with free shipping. So check that out, and be sure to check out the link below for this one, because this one should sell out. This one's kind of amazing, and again, has the longest flight time of any analog quad on my channel. Decent tune, will cinema and freestyle and long range, and it's just killing the competition as far as 4-inch ultralight long range quads go. So kind of amazing. I haven't seen another 38-minute flight test out there, so maybe somebody can do that, and you can go back again and watch the video and you will see that we did indeed fly that long. It's kind of amazing. One more tip though, if you get one of these or any other quad in China, make sure you take a driver and go over the entire quad top to bottom, all of the screws. Make sure everything is nice and tight before your first flight. You will thank me later if you do that. So thanks again for watching, guys. Please do subscribe. I will see you in Betaflight in just a moment. Here we go. Okay guys, go ahead and plug in the USB cable to the side of your quad and open up Betaflight. Let's go ahead and connect. When you see USB modem load up, it should bring you to this page. And first thing you can do is level out the quad, hit reset Z axis on the very right hand side, and that should bring the quad's rear to you. And you can check that all the axes on the flight controller are right. This is a props out configuration quad, and you can go into the configuration tab and it will show you that indeed it is a left turn on motor number 1 configuration. Props out in the front, that's motor number 1, 2, 3, and 4 there. And if you ever forget, you can always go back to the configuration page to double check this. Now, I also changed the arming angle to 180. It was set to 25, so I changed that to 180. So in case I crash into a tree or something like that, I can kind of maybe just power up momentarily to try to get myself out. GPS was enabled as well, and if you want to add sort of an ESC beeper, you can do that with turning on RX lost and RX set. Now we're going to save and reboot real quick. We're going to come back in and make sure that you have enabled expert mode, and that will open up a few more tabs on the left hand side here. So we can check our ports right there. You can see it looks like we have 1, 2, 3, 4 ports, not 6. 1, 2, 3, and 6 UART. We have serial RX on UART number 6, so it looks like the receiver is on UART number 6 and GPS is on UART number 2. So power and battery is where you're going to be able to fly your Li-Ion if you put the correct settings in there so that your OSD is not squawking at you. And I mean sending you warnings as soon as you hit 3.25 volt. And minimum cell voltage, I have it set right now to 2.65, but you can raise that up to about 2.8 to be on the safe side. And that way, if you do dip down to 2.8, resting voltage is really going to be above 3.0, and that way you won't damage the cells in your battery. So having at 2.6, I put it at 2.6 just because I knew I could get away with 2.6 because of that resting voltage. Meaning when I land and I turn the quad off, the motors stop. That means that the battery level actually does rise when it's not under load. So one thing to think about there, but you have to be careful with Li-Ions. I don't want anybody to burn their house down there, but make sure that you always feel your Li-Ion pack afterwards and take care of your Li-Ions. Don't push them down too far. I would never push a Li-Ion down past below 2.8, so very dangerous if you do. So those are the settings for Li-Ion packs: 2.8 minimum cell voltage and 2.8 warning cell voltage. Now for failsafe, they had it set to drop, and that's right out of the box. That's the way it's set. I would change that to GPS rescue and save and reboot. You can also allow arming without fix, but that's going to be up to you. You can turn that off. Generally, you want to let a quad sit there and load the GPS home point for around a minute to a minute and a half until it beeps, and you'll see latitude and longitude come up. You will see a home arrow working up top, and I move things around on the OSD. I like to have my home arrow up top, and I'll show you that in a second. So we're going to restart real quick. We're going to come back into Betaflight. We're going to go down to OSD, and you can see here in the middle of the screen, that little arrow, you can drag it up to the top center. That's what I do. Longitude and latitude are up top, and you notice that if you go back into my flight test, you'll notice that none of my GPS information was up. That's because when I did the power loop on the tree and I hit the tree and I crashed into the concrete with the Novice 4, that my Novice 4 GPS flew off the back and was laying on the concrete after my crash. So when I was doing my long range battery test, I didn't have GPS on there, but I went ahead and did it anyway. And I was lucky enough and fortunate enough to find it later. So a tip for you guys, if you want to, you can run a zip tie underneath it and around it, maybe a little bit of hot glue on the bottom of that GPS just to make sure it doesn't eject on a really hard crash. But that's a concrete crash, and that's about as hard as it gets. So just one thing to think about there. So as far as everything else in here, everything else is looking pretty good. If you guys have any questions about anything at all with this quad, please do leave a comment down below. Maybe the community can help you out with it. And I'm going to say the PIDs on here are great. The tune's great. Not a lot of vibes in that camera, and I feel like it freestyles great if that's what you want. Or you can take it out and send it with GPS and have return to home set up. So 38-minute flight time is just kind of crazy. This quad is awesome, and again, I think this should be one of Eachine's best-selling quads ever, even over top of the Eachine Wizard. We need to rewrite history here, and definitely give some thumbs up to Eachine for creating something that actually does fantastic in compared to the competition. Now, as far as longevity goes, the components on board, we'll see how those hold up over the next couple months, and I'll let you know if anything breaks down or fries. But for now, I'm just going to keep this one on the shelf, and it's going to remain in my collection. So thanks again for watching, guys. You can check out the links down below. Hopefully this little quick Betaflight tutorial helped you guys out, and I will see you on the next one.